we have the recording for those people not here. So good. And if you've got any questions, feel free to put your hand up, come off mute, put it in the chat. We're a small group, so we can really get stuck in. So what I want us to do today is, so everyone got the onboarding document, what we're going to be doing each week. Everyone got that? Great. And then this is the same Zoom link we're going to be using each week. And we're going to put extra content in that folder for you as well. If you see opportunities, or if we've got like additional trainings. Now I've got my finger on the pulse on what's going on in some organizations around training, around facilitation, or if you have a product. So I'm listening out to these conversations. I'm having conversations with them. I sit in other people's round tables, so I hear what's being said. And anything I hear, I'm just going to feed back to you guys. You guys will be my priority. So before we get started, Denise, my darling, feel free to come off mute and just introduce yourself and tell people where you're dialing in from. Are you there? Is she there? Okay, what we do, Denise, we will come back to you, my dear, but because I want to get started, because I don't want to keep people too long, and we can get started. So let me just share my screen with you guys. Share. Cool. Brilliant. Hopefully you can see all that. So although we're going to talk a little bit about mindset, but I wanted us to just hit the ground running, because I want to know what you currently have that we can retweak so that it meets the commercial needs of organizations. So that's what I definitely want us to do. So that's why I've called this the solution specialist. Now, if you want, like I'd said in the masterclass, you can open the screen, on your right, you can widen the screen so you can see me, as well as see the, I'm just to put everybody on mute, as well as see the slides. So this is what we're going to be covering, your current positioning. So I want to know what you currently do. Do you already do some work with corporates? How's it going? Let's look at whether you can do more of what you're already doing, double down on that, or whether we need to explore some new areas. And I want to understand what your sweet spot is. And I want to get very clear on what's the message. Now, I know every single one of you have a message already, and that may work really well for entrepreneurs. It may not work well when you're trying to sell it into corporates. So I don't want you to change your message. I just want you to have a second message. So if you work with entrepreneurs right now, your message might be, working with, small business owners to help them grow their business. That's not going to work with corporates at all. So I want you to start thinking of what you currently do, like if you do happiness, if you do health and wellness, if you do executive coaching, how we can tweak what you currently do that rings true to the corporate market. All right, Adrian, because I've got my screen on full. If anyone comes to the waiting room, will you be able to let them in?
I can absolutely do that. Yeah, and I'll pick up the chat as well. So if anybody's got anything, I'll pick up what's happening in the chat, and I'll interject every so often. So if you've got any questions, I'll pick that up.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you're going to definitely need pen and plain paper, or just some sort of paper, or if you've downloaded the workbook is editable. You can put your responses in there. So let's start with this. I need to know, what's your revenue goal? Because I want to write down everybody's revenue goal so we can hold you accountable. So,
all right, put it in the chat.
Yep, put it in the chat. And yeah, because we can save the chat as well, can't we?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
I see some people putting that in, and the figures I see people putting in, is that per year, per month, per what?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
So 100, 150, 150. Annual, yeah. Okay, they're all annual. Good. Yeah, make it annual so it's easier, because what will happen is, like, let's say you get a contract for, let's say, for 3 months, and then you can go back in, and you know, you might miss a month and you might go back in for another 3 months. So we just want to get an idea of how much you're looking to make. And making 100K with organizations is definitely doable. Definitely doable.
Can I comment on that as
Yeah,
well?
go for it.
As well, what you want to be considering, especially if you want to be moving into some of the larger contracts, 100K is probably your starting figure. 75, if you think of a contract value of half your turnover, that's what we might be looking at for you to apply. So if you want a £50,000 contract, you probably need to be turning over £100,000.
Yeah, that's good. So I like these figures.
It's good.
And I guess no one's going to say under 100K, because the 100K is the smallest amount here. So we don't want anything less than that. Let's all aim for that. And when I say all, I'm involved as well. So let's all aim for that. So brilliant, great. So the reason why I wanted to put this in, because it's really important, and that we get in the mindset of making more money and not feel that, oh, I shouldn't be making money, because sometimes you might think, okay, I haven't made that yet, but how can I see myself making 100K? But it's so possible. And the reason why I just want to talk to you about this as well, is I want you to see yourselves as specialists that can command that amount of money. You are specialists that can command 100K easily. You can do it, because each of you who we've heard from today have specialist skills. And I think during the program, we're going to look at your fees and how much you charge. But I want you to know that everything that you've invested for this, you'll get it back. Easy. You should not be doing any training or any facilitation for organizations less than 2K. Not less than 2K. So this is the mindset I need you to be in. So no 997. We're not dealing with entrepreneurs here. We're not dealing with entrepreneurs here. So I don't want oh, mine is for 997 or for, nah. We're talking big money. Big money requires thinking big. So I just want to get a sense check of how's people feeling. Do you feel okay to be able to, once, I'm going to give you the framework of how you go in. I'm going to give you the framework of what kind of conversations. But do you feel that you can say, for this 3-hour training, it will cost 2.5K. But we're gonna value stack it, so it's gonna make sense. So because I don't know how much you charge now, so it might be way far from what you're charging now. But remember, before you were talking to other people like you, entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs, business to customers. But when you're thinking about some of these organizations, and what we're going to look at next week, whether your organizations are they fintech, are they IT, are they manufacturing, are they property? I really want to get an idea, and you need to get an idea of what types of industries. Then from the industries, we'll go down to what some of the companies. Then we need to find out who we need to be talking to. All right, so this is why I've extended this longer. So you just pay whatever you pay, but the support you'll get is going to be longer, because I know when I do look at sales cycles of corporates, depending on how many people are employed in that organization, the sales cycles might be longer. So if it's like under 100 people in the organization, you could probably get a response in terms of your program, your offer really quickly. If it's large, if you're going for Deloitte, like the likes of Deloitte professional services, if you're going for law firms, it's going to be a longer lead time. So do you get what I mean? So that's why I want to extend this, because some people might get their wins in the first 3 months. Somebody might get it in month 4. You might get it 2 years. Amazon, it took me 2 years. 2 years to get Amazon. And the fact that the very first piece of work or talk that I did for them was free. 2 years later, they asked me to come back. Then they paid me. Then after that time, that was in January, just gone. Now they've asked me to come back. Remember I told you guys in the video So I sent that off. I've sent it off. I put the brief together, I sent it off, and the same brief that I used for them before that works, it's the same template. It's the same template that I'm going to give you as well. So you can see how I structured it out. I put what the outcomes are. I put what learnings, what takeaways that they're going to that they can get and implement straight away, what resources they'll get. So you get all of that from me, okay? If it worked for me, it can work for you, right? So that's what I want to share. If you've got any questions at any time, feel free to put them in. Hi, Denise, Simone, Leela. Hi, guys. We've just started, so you haven't missed anything. We just literally just started. So let's go.
Can I make a comment? I'll make a comment, Michelle, as well. I just wanted to say, generally, the higher the ticket price is probably the longer the sales cycle that you're going to be, you're looking at, unless you're moving at scale, so doing more than one. But if you're looking at a higher contract value or ticket price value with one organization, is a longer the sales cycle. Basically, they're going to consider more things before awarding you that contract.
Yeah.
And so that might take a little bit of time. But it's worth it in the end. And the earlier you start is the quicker you get to that destination.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And that's such a key point. And remember, you don't want it to be based on price.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want them to go to you because you're the cheaper option. That's not the mindset we're trying to create here. We want to show them how much value they'll get by working with you because you understand what they want. So I had somebody speak to me just this week, and they said to me, so do I just find out what their problems are and then, say that they can help? That won't work either. There's a conversation you need to have is different. No organization wants you to ask them a whole list of questions to find out what the problems are for you then to sell them a solution. They don't want that. So I'm going to show you how to do it, how you have a conversation with them where you listen out to the problem, and then you go back to them and say, from our conversation, so is this an issue that might happen? So then you are triggering the problems, because sometimes they don't even see the problems that they have. If you ask people, oh, what problems do you have? They start to rack their brains to try and understand what that problem is. So this is where you're going to lead on that. So what I want you to do, and we can either come off share or you can share in, I want to know exactly what you do and what problems do your clients have, or these potential clients. So I know that you said about well-being, I heard about executive coaching, I heard about happiness. Now tell me the commercial problems you solve. That's what I want to see. So put it in the comments or write it in your workbook. Actually, do it in the comments and then copy and paste it in the workbook. So that's correct. So what you do and what commercial problems you solve. So like Rona, you said you're a happiness coach. So I get that. But what is the problem, or the particular problem or issue? Is having you on board critical, or is it a nice to have? That's where I want you guys to differentiate. Is your solution a nice to have, or is it critical?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Irene. So go and unmute yourself, Irene. So tell me more about the current situation you're in.
Yeah, I was just thinking, my God, scratching my head. So I think that I've played in the local market too much, even though my offering is global. So as you know, I do HR consultancy, but also coaching as well. And so I've been focusing, and Amelia's on as well, but I've been focusing on providing services in the Ghana market, because my sense was get that market sorted and then I can go elsewhere. But I've got a lot of international experience. Obviously, you can tell I lived in the UK, I've lived in South Africa and all of this. So the biggest challenge I have is the price. I know we're going to talk about that later. Is the pricing. It's a bit like it's just too expensive. But I think I'm marketing to the wrong people, probably, or the wrong clients. So I have corporate clients, but they pay like the minimum, if you like, because they're not really using me for their big work. They're kind of using me for their peripheral work.
So
yeah.
What figures are we talking about, so I can get an idea?
So for example, when I do coaching, actually, Amelia, you need to help. Are you on, and is your internet working?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with coaching, when we started out, we priced it at $350 for a session. However, we had a lot of people not moving up in the sales cycle. They would come up all the way to become a sales qualified lead. And then when you get to the point of payment, they tend to die out at that particular point. So we looked at trying to revise our pricing. So we brought it down to $250. We try to also segment them based on, is the person who's looking for, particularly for the coaching, is the person an entry-level position, is it a mid-level position, and using that to kind of tier the pricing to see if that would make it more affordable. And that's just for the coaching bit. We offer a number of services, so it depends on which one.
So
and then
the $250 to $350, is that who pays that? The individual pays that to you, or the organization?
Exactly right.
Yeah. So I think that's where the problem has been, because I think before we've ended up in a B2C space.
Yeah.
Where we should be ending up more in a B2B space. So I do have a big client who's B2B, but they're paying like $150 actually, not even $250. Because I think they don't see. So the other challenge is the proposition in Ghana for coaching is new. And it's a bit of a novelty. Whereas if we're talking about HR consulting, doing kind of consultancy work, we tend to get, I don't know, handbooks, policies, procedures, retainers, that kind of work. And so, for example, we're on a retainer for $2,000 a month, doing retainer work, but that's a very small company. So I think the challenge is we've got these range of services, and I think we've done a lot of marketing around the B2C space and not enough around the B2B, I think.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Can I comment, Michelle?
Yeah, go for it.
So coming from my point of view, I'm a buyer, so I buy these services for corporate organizations. As you're saying, what you do need to consider is, are you actually delivering that service for an individual who is in the company, or are you delivering the service for the company? And that, again, will give you an indication of who's paying for it. So, for example, $350 to an individual might be expensive, but $350 to a business isn't expensive. And it's about how you're marketing and having that conversation with them. Also, when you're looking at it for a business, they're more likely to be doing it at scale than on an individual. They're going to have more than one person that they're going to be looking at, and they're going to want to have some outcomes. And this goes across all of the sectors that we're talking about. It doesn't have to be HR. It could be well-being. It could be, again, you've mentioned consulting. So give an example, in the London space, if you are charging £350 a day for consulting, that isn't a consultant really. That is more of a contractor day rate. Yeah. A consultant would normally work on a framework, and you'll probably be looking for, depending on the level of consultant that we're talking about, you might start at, let's just say conservatively, $850 a day, £1,000. I've worked with individuals who are consultants who earn £3,500 a day. Yeah, and it's all relative, but those are big numbers, but it's all relative to the output that they're giving, if that makes sense. And the problem that they solve for the organization is much bigger than £3,500 a day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think what's important to note, Adrian, we're talking about per hour here. We're not talking per day. So when I
Agreed.
speak,
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
okay,
Agreed. Agreed.
okay, but I understand.
But you know, when you're doing the coaching, you're not
Mhm.
necessarily going to be doing a day of coaching, are you?
Correct. I'll do it per
Yeah.
hour. Yeah. Yeah.
You might be doing it per hour. I'm just giving as an
Yeah.
example of
Yeah.
scale
Yes.
and who's paying
Yeah.
you for. So you
Yes.
are 100% right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, as you said, your conversation about who you're talking to and how they go about it. So how you engage a person, how I engage Irene is different to how I engage your business.
The company. Yeah.
Yeah. And what they're assessing is different.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So
And you've got to
hopefully-
remember, and this is for everybody, what you want to try and do is sell a program
that's
or
right.
a package to organizations. So I was been reading like through some of the comments. So some people can do coaching, and you want to coach a department, not just one person. That's
right.
You may start with just coaching one person, you know, to get in, but eventually you want to end up, you know, being the coach for that department. That's right. That's the way that you want to get it. So I'm just reading some of the comments there.
Also, when I advertise for the organizations that I work for, things like this, we advertise in a group setting. We don't do it for just one individual. It might be part of a bigger program of well-being and training and consulting. It might be a bigger program, and this is just one element that they're looking at. So you've got to think when you're doing business, especially the large corporates, medium-sized corporates, it's on a scale that's bigger than the individual. And so that's the conversation that you're having.
Cool. So Hanan, so I'm just picking out a few from the comments. So Hanan, you said that you do events. So right now, you've got a good opportunity here because lots of organizations are still doing events and they're doing the hybrid. So
absolutely right.
What you want to do is make what you offer not a nice to have. Oh, it's nice to have an events person. You've got to make it business critical in terms of, so what you want to be saying or in your message, it's about how do you build in an experience for people, for either the internal customers or people who are paying to attend an event. So you want to create the experience to make them still be that company of choice. So, and I want all of you, when we do it next week, I want you to start thinking of companies that have investors in people, companies that are on the Sunday Times best places to work, because all of these type of companies, they put their people first. All right, that's for everyone, whether you've got a product, a service,
exactly right.
Coaching, events, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It's, if they've won awards for best place to work, if they've got the investors in people logo, or if they, you know, if you go on their website and they've got like all these accolades, that's not the word, but I can't remember what the word is. Those are the companies you want to be targeting because they'll be open-minded. They'll be open to listen to what else is out there to still make them the best place to work. They still want to be on those leaderboards because it's because of stakeholders. They might have shareholders that want them to make sure that they are really great places to work. So they're going to look for external people like us to continue to make them the best place to work, right?
Exactly
so
right.
Does anybody else want to share? I know you've written in the comments. Does anybody else want to come off mute and just to share in terms of what you currently do and whether you think it's critical or is it a nice to have? Because right now we want critical. And we need to, if it's a nice to have, we need to make it critical.
So I am a wellbeing coach. And so I deliver mobility, flexibility, exercises to individuals currently, but I want to venture into corporate because obviously the whole balance to be effective in the workplace with stress, etc. Well-being is really necessary for employees to be effective in their workplace. Mm-hmm. And so my aim is to deliver a course to help employers to make their staff more relaxed and more mobile so that they are not hunched over, so they don't in turn have days off because of sickness and ailments in their bodies, but you know, they're looking after themselves holistically so that they can be more productive in the work.
And you know what, as you talked, you know what came to mind? You could offer this as a service for people who are coming into work, but you could also offer it as a service for people who are at home, but still employed. Because think about it, we're all at home. I mean, I'm the person, I hunch over all the time, but you could offer a service to an organization, you know, give it like a nice snappy name, where you either, you don't want to go into everybody's workplace, so you might do a remote assessment of how people are positioned, you know, and it could be an assessment that you're actually talking to them, you know, how long do you sit at the desk, how long are you typing, what type of chair, all of that type of thing. And that's for internal people who are actually going into work, and especially where you can sell it is for people that are still working remotely, because they still have a duty of care. That's what, that's what you need to put in your email. You have a duty of care, even though they work remotely, you've got a duty of care to make sure that their home setting, and trust me, as HR, and Irene will know, you know, there's flexible working, there's home working policy. Have you updated your home working policy to make sure that they are working at suitable heighted tables, that they're moving around? So you're not a workplace desk assessment, but you're a workplace mobility assessor.
That's right.
That's your corporate name, your workplace mobility assessor. So you assess, you know, the chairs, you know, just make sure it's the right height, but also, are they moving around enough? How are they keeping mobile? Because let's say if I'm employed and I'm sitting at my desk, I don't know, 24 hours of the day, and then I start getting sciatica, that person can hold the company liable in the sense of, well, they haven't checked how, you know, if I'm taking breaks. There's all of these types of things. So this is what makes what you do. I'm trying to tweak it to make it business imperative.
Can I comment as well? I think as well, the conversation that you're having with that organization needs to be in the language that they discuss it in as well. So this would fall under occupational health. It would fall under employee well-being. All of these are the types of people that you need to be contacting or having that type of language in your communication, so that it's in the same language that they talk about it. They may not say mobility coach because they don't know what that is, but they will know what an occupational health is, or an occupational health review, for example. There are many ways that you could be having this conversation. And, you know, just as a pointer as well, is to consider who already they might have identified that might need this. So, for example, in my organization, we've got a number of individuals who would require special seating, special desks, special PCs for a variety of reasons. So they would have already been assessed, but they're identified as people that might need that support. And so again, it's having that conversation to see either you partner with or you deliver with somebody that's already in there. So as a pointer.
Yeah, I love that, Adrian. I love that. So although this is for Denise, Linda, there's bits what we just said that you can definitely.
Absolutely right.
Who else does the health and wellness here? Is it just you two? Actually, Rhoda, you could definitely, all what we're saying to Denise, you can definitely take pieces from here as well, because I know that you do happiness. So and happiness, the opposite of stress, or it's not the direct opposite, but it can be seen as the opposite of stress. How can you make sure that your team are happy? What do happy people do? This is what it's leading to. How engaged are happy people? How are you testing and measuring that? Yeah. So there's definitely some good points there. Any more shares from anyone else? Lida, Simone, Ruchi? No, Janine, actually. Sorry, darling.
Yeah, so I'm working with women. So in my individual practice, the people that I work with tend to be women who are like fed up with the work that they're doing, and they're trying to find something else because they're not feeling fulfilled in the work that they do. But I'm seeing patterns in what they're saying. Oftentimes it's because they feel undervalued and they feel overlooked, is why they then end up saying, look, I need to go and do something else, or their organization isn't doing enough to recognize their contribution. So I feel like there's opportunity there to talk to organizations now about the fact that people have had this time of reflection over COVID, and it's causing a lot of people to question, is this where I want to be in my career? So what can organizations be doing to hold on to their talent, and to nurture them
Attention.
and to give them the skills so that they can stay, particularly women, because we're not seeing enough women in leadership. So that's kind of the angle that I'm thinking, having listened to you speak.
Yeah, so women in leadership, and what you want to bring in then is you want to bring in almost like gender imbalance,
Mhm.
and
So
most-
diversity.
and it will link it to diversity. So I know you're not doing diversity, but this is what they want. So I'm linking what you just said to diversity in the sense of, think about it. If you're going to help women level up within their careers, and if they level up, then there's more likely they get to much senior roles. They can be board members. And I was reading some stats. I read stats all the time. And there were some stats from Green Park where they're just saying, I can't remember the stats exactly, but they're trying to get more boards. Yeah. So
That's right.
I think for you want to get some statistics to show that the difference it makes when you have more women in senior leadership roles. And right now, the senior leaders, the women that you have, they might lack a little bit of confidence, or they may feel a bit of imposter syndrome, or they just don't feel like their voice is being heard. So you are equipping them with that confidence, that skill set, so that they can be seen as board members before they get promoted to become board members. So you're tapping the diversity and inclusion box. But that's the way I think that could work for you.
Can I ask a question as well? You say you do leadership. Is it limited to females, to women?
It's not, but that's who I've been working with. So in terms of marketing and stuff, that's where I focus, because it's the natural area, but it doesn't have to be exclusive.
Okay.
That's just my experience so far has been coaching women.
That's really good, because your outputs aren't necessarily gender specific. You're helping individuals. And why I'm talking in this language is because when corporates have a conversation with the market, they may not be gender specific in the way they advertise. They might say people in leadership.
Yeah.
And they'll have outcomes that they want for all of their leaders. Now, absolutely, you can say that you specialize with women. There's not an issue with that. But the outcome that you're producing, not the mechanism of what you do, but the outcome is relative for both, for all genders.
Yeah.
And then when we advertise, we're not necessarily going to say we're looking for a specific person that does for women. We might not necessarily do. We're much more likely to say we're looking for leadership trainers, leadership consultants to help us with our organizational outputs, to deliver A, B, and C outcome for our organization. None of that will be gender specific. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can broaden your delivery to more than people, more than just women. I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm saying that you can broaden and have a wider market to play with. And also the conversation will be in the same language that they're looking for. Because if you approach the market, if you're talking to a corporate and you said, I'm only doing women, that they might pigeonhole you. But your excellence is, leadership coaching or leadership training, and especially with women. And as Michelle said, you want to consider those organizations who diversity is important to. And I would say the entire public sector is on that list, because they are mandated to make sure that they are diverse in their workforce. So if somebody is mandated to do something, they have to do it. Whereas a private company chooses to do it. out of their preferences, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's good. We're going to take two more. So I think it's Rushi and then Leela, and then we'll continue. We can still have quick Q&As afterwards. So Rushi.
Hi, Michelle. Michelle, I get totally confused because these are like two lines for me. One is like a medical sector, one is like STEM. I'm not focused on STEM specifically for women or STEM as a career, because as a whole, STEM is kind of getting reduced. No doubt, women represent a very small section of STEM. So I get totally confused with respect to what I should think about when it is a requirement for a corporate, because I'm totally blinded to that.
So you do you said, so you've got your medical, that's the imaging that you do. STEM. I will go for the STEM only because it's so current at the moment. It's such a current topic, and you could, let's say, I'm trying to see how we can make this business critical. There might be women, sort of similar to the women in leadership, but it's women in STEM in certain organizations, because there's certain organizations where, like IT, where it's male dominated, but there are women there, but the women don't get to those higher levels as much as the men. So I like there's something there that you could work with. So I hear that you do the two, but right now we just want to choose the one that is critical. And then we can do the nice to haves afterwards, yeah? Because once you know how to deal with this, you can just run with it anytime you like, yeah? Whatever subject matter that, you know, that floats your boat. But right now we want to think, what are companies willing to pay for today? And I'm not going to say as in this season, you know, and that's why, you know, like I had somebody else who wanted to do this, but I wasn't convinced that any company is going to be wanting to part with thousands of pounds for that. You can still do it. So, but I want you to think of, so STEM for me, that's such a big thing. And I'm trying to think of probably organizations, like it might be fintech, IT, probably even Leela might know even some organizations where they want to get more women to be seen in their organizations. So I'm just trying to think off the top of my head.
I was going to ask the question, Richie, what is it when you talk about STEM, what's problem solving? What is it? What's the solution?
Yeah.
So for me, it is like I guide students who are choosing STEM careers. That is one portion. Second, some people who already have STEM careers, how to go ahead with their careers. And the third section is the women who are coming back, who are coming back to work after pregnancy or career breaks. So these are the three portions. So I don't know which portion is like kind of attracted by the corporates specifically.
Yeah, so the last one definitely is a topical one for when women are coming back from maternity, and there's a lot of talk around having that confidence to return to the workplace. So that's definitely one for a corporate. Sorry, what was the second one?
So the second group is the students who've like graduated or post-graduated or are in research with respect to STEM, and now they're looking out for different career options. So that is something I'm presently working on with one-to-one with people. So guiding them career options.
Yeah, I'm just sharing based on my own experience. I don't see that as necessarily a corporate thing, because I see people from, like when I was in HP, you'd have people from HP going into the education sector to have do presentations and workshops to encourage people into STEM roles, and there's networks and stuff as well for that. So I wouldn't necessarily see that one as a corporate solution. But you mentioned a third one. What was the other one?
Yeah, the other one was children, counseling children to take up STEM careers.
Okay, so similar again. So those two I think are quite similar. I think the first one, which is the maternity return to work scenario, is a good one.
Yeah,
that's something they would definitely be interested in.
Yeah, and is that something that you feel like we'll quickly do an exercise? Do you feel like you've got sufficient experience that you could go in and confidently talk about that, about getting women back into work from that perspective?
So I don't have an experience in terms of training people because I haven't trained somebody on that, but I have my own experiences associated with that. And I have a lot of other people, one-to-one coachings associated with that, but no corporate trainings done yet.
That's fine. And there's ways around it that you can still get entry without, you know, having years of corporate training. So I think, yeah, so for this program, let's focus on returning to work. So women returning to work, and probably senior women returning to work. Not that you can't do people who are not senior, but I'm just trying to think, if you wanted to niche it even more, you could. Because remember, women in senior roles, they want to get higher in their career, and they always feel guilty when they have to stop to have a child. Then they come back into the market. They don't come back at the same level, although HR we do try to get them back at the same level, but sometimes it's not always the case. So it's about supporting them. And yeah, there could be something there that you could do, actually.
Yeah, so
you've got the step before that. You've also got the step before that, Michelle. You've got people that are leaving to go on to things like maternity or to take over. Those people are already identified, and you want to get to them prior to them leaving as a recommendation. You know, because those people will be identified by the organization. If they're going out on maternity leave, there will be a date. And, you know, if you could be referred to them, or as part of the employee wellbeing as well, again, occupational health, those are the types of entry points that you want to look at. Prior to them leaving the organization, you want to identify them before.
Yes, that we could. You want to be on the so this will be almost, like either under occupational health or as a benefit. So if organizations, they have like different benefit schemes, so we call it benefits, flexi benefits, fixed benefits. So you want to find out what current benefits do the organizations have for their staff, and this is an additional offering. So this could be for anybody, actually.
And this is a really good one for Lunch and Learn. Because you know, you could go in and deliver this, and don't limit it to women. I'm a married man, and so I have concerns over my wife. So, you know, if my wife was leaving the workforce, I would want to know, is she supported as well, and could she go back to where she was? You know, it's not just limited to the obvious people that you could be talking to. There are a lot of influential people as well.
HP brought in, or HPE, I should say, Hewlett Packard Enterprise brought in a new benefit for men. You can get up to 6 months parental leave. So
that's right.
In a similar position.
I agree. I think the concerns, obviously, though, are much more magnified for returning to work and career progression for women, especially in those kind of diversity after a longer period away. Those might not be as inherent in men, but they're definitely inherent in women due to their experience. But you're totally right. But can I also say as well, Rishi, just right back to what you said at the beginning, if you notice, what you have got is probably more than one product. And so you don't try and sell everything to the same person. Apple has an iPad. They also have an iMac. They also have an iPhone. And the way that they market those are differently to the people using it. So see it as individual products that you have. You could be brilliant in all of those. It's just that the conversation that you have with the organization slightly different for each product that you're supplying.
Could I just make a comment? I was just thinking about what you were saying, and for example, when you were talking about STEM, so I don't know what it's like in the UK, but I think it's probably the same across Africa, there is a big STEM movement. And I think that you could also think about this from a grassroots perspective. So there are lots of big organizations that have foundations. So they also want to kind of have a pipeline of talent that come into their organizations. So the other way of looking at it is, yes, you've got the women that want to return to work, but then there is a population that you could, let's say, for example, I used to work in oil and gas. So let's say Shell, find out Shell has a foundation. They often want to do something in sustainability, and they're looking at how they bring STEM young people, so they may sponsor an academy, and then you could be providing a service to that foundation. So your proposition is going to that foundation, as opposed to it just, you know, being a direct kind of employee. I know that from a women leadership perspective, there's an immediate gap that needs to be solved, but I think there is a grassroots piece of work, and that could be a steady income, because, you know, that's a foundation. They generally have millions accountable to that. They want someone to do it. You could be the woman that is doing that program. So that's something to also consider, I think.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think as well, if you listen to when Michelle talks about visibility and improving your visibility, are you associated with any associations, with any people that are in the industry, women in STEM already? You know, what type of research have you done and associated with those types of organizations that might be putting out information or research papers in regards to women in STEM? Those are where you increase your visibility and your credibility to have those conversations with those organizations.
I am associated, but I'll put that forward. I think, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm just conscious of time. So what I want us to do, Leela, over to you, my dear.
Okay, thank you. So I was just trying to translate as you were talking about what I have, what I can bring to the table. So, and then I was going through the presentations I've done where I have gotten paid. So typically it's maybe 1 or 2 sessions. It's like a webinar / masterclass / training. And it's usually based on my frameworks, so the 6 pillars of my personal branding. So what's been common is the mindset one, yep. The connection and building relationships, both internally and externally, and presence, like how to show up with presence, both on and offline, which kind of can tie in as well with the mindset one. And then I've also done a couple of more strategic ones where I've helped them around collaboration, where you've got a team that's based in different countries, putting together a mission statement, so they can work more cohesively, because they weren't. Yeah, so those are the kind of things that I have, that I've delivered before. Just listening to what you've been saying as well, there's certain things I do and don't want to be known for, let's say, and I do not want, and you know, there's already been, I don't want to go down the women route, but I do want to stay in tech, because that's what I know and that's what I love. And I also don't want to position myself as a leadership coach or trainer, because I think it's saturated, and I think there's a gap in middle management. It's like the top talent that are at that middle stage who want to get up to the next level. So I want to work with people who want to progress, not people who are told they have to attend a training.
Cool. That is a good call. And I think in that tech space, it will be good. Do you know what you can do? You know, with the webinars and masterclass and the trainings that you've already done, is there any scope for you to go back to them and say, you know, you've already done something, so they know and trust you, and could you go back and say that you're rolling out a program, and it's program specifically targeted at middle managers, and because you've already gone in and done something with them, and you think that the company will be a great fit for the rollout of this program, you know, it's, you know, all singing and dancing, and you want to roll it out with them, and you want, once you tell them all the value, and you then say to them, because it's a new program, just like we do with entrepreneurs, you know, it's a beta program. You don't tell them that, you know, you're rolling out a new program that's been tested, and you think it'd be a good fit for them, and the entry point will be this, like in terms of pricing. Do you think that the companies you've spoken to, if you were to create a program, do you think they would take it? Because now we're not talking to new corporates, we're talking to people that you've already had a touch point with.
I think some of them might consider it. It also depends how I've gotten in the door, because a couple of them, even though they've been paid, they've been like I'm doing one tomorrow for HP. It's the Women's Network, so I'm getting paid for it, but it's that audience. Whereas for another company, it was for their legal team. right? So I think it depends who I can talk to about it. So I think I would happily go back and approach them. But like I said in my comment, I want to lead more with the coaching. And yeah, deliver like some workshops or webinars or what have you. But actually, I think there's more value to be had for the individuals with getting like individual coaching to go with that based on what it is I deliver. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't think I've really given this a lot of thought strategically before. So most of the corporate stuff I've gotten has come to me, which is nice. But so I've done what I said, this is my framework. And we've talked about what their needs are, and then we've gone with that. So I think to be more strategic about it is think, okay, to Adrian's point, is like there's different aspects to it. Do I go to them with a program, as in these modules, or offer them that they can do like 1 or 3 or 5 kind of thing?
Can I respond on that? I think that, again, let's remember that we're talking business to corporate. So you have to, before you put anything on paper to them per se, outside of visibility, you want to have that conversation with them about what they're trying to achieve. Yeah, because you don't try and sell in your program to them. Selling a solution to what their requirements are, which probably includes your program, but you're they might say, we're trying to achieve this for our organization, A, B, C, and D. And you can say, well, to achieve this, you would require this program and you would require this coaching type of thing. And you're not leading with your program, you're leading with their requirements, their need, and the fact that you can solve it. And the fact that you've done it before, you can then use that as case study to demonstrate this is how you get this outcome and this is the result, if that helps.
Okay, yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
No, it sounds good. Right, I'm going to quickly move on. We've actually covered most of what we were going to talk about in my slides, which is brilliant, because then I just worked so hard on the slide. I want to show you because
Good.
I worked very hard on it.
Well done.
Yeah, man. Listen,
Yay!
I do prefer when we have these conversations because we're all learning at the same time. But anyway, we just covered this, your expertise. So basically, once you know what, so, Rushi, you're going to be focusing on STEM. Rona, you're going to focus on happiness. We'll hear from you. I'm going to hear from Linda, Corinne, and who else I haven't heard from? Hanan. And like Adrian was saying, it has to meet the client's problem or the issues, whatever is imperative, and what they're willing to invest in, and that will be your zone of genius. So when we look at the zone of genius, your zone of genius is what skills you currently have mixed with what they're willing to pay for and the problems that you solve. So what we've just done is this. We've just looked at the current stuff that we do. So for me, it's people problems, coaching, speaking, leadership development, HR, and training. So in your workbook, I've given you space so that you can get very clear on what you currently do or based on what experience you have. Because the question might come up, what experience? I can say, I've got experience in dealing with people problems. I've got experience in coaching and speaking, leadership, HR, and training. Then the next segment is, so how does my current expertise, how does it show up? How does it make me different? So what makes me different is because I then link everything I do to visibility. Yeah, then I always let them know that I have a process of how it works. So I create frameworks for other organizations. I'm doing one now and I'm struggling, so I might have to reach out to someone here. And it's around training, but I'm just my mind's so blocked with it, I just can't get it out my head and onto paper. But they want a process from me on how do these account managers go from account manager to account directors, and they want me to visually map it out, but I'm so stuck. But that, I'm known for processes and frameworks, so I need to get my head around it. So think about, for you, what makes you unique in your skills? What makes you stand out? And there's what makes me stand out in terms of my leadership stuff, my speaking, my people problems. I'm very clear on how I deliver it. And I give them a step-by-step process. And that's why I want to give you guys a step-by-step process. So you can just follow it. I make it simple. I got clarity twice. That's how great I am with the clarity. So do you understand? Always think about what makes you different, what makes you, like in here, there's a couple people here that do health and well-being. What makes you stand out from, how does Rona stand out differently from Denise? And how does Denise stand out differently from Linda? So all three of you are in the well-being and occupational health space, if you talk for corporate, but what makes you stand out? So you might say, what makes me stand out is my experiences, or, you know, like I said, I know how to make things simple. I have a framework. So I want you to write down either on your notes or in the workbook, just where I've put the green area, what makes you stand out from any other wellness person or another executive coach, or what makes you stand out from the personal branding or the events. Or if you're a coach, why would one of my clients, if one of my clients said, I need a coach or an executive coach, and I put, let's say I put Corrine forward because she's a coach, I put Janine forward, why would they pick Janine and not Corrine? That's what I want you to, I just need to get an idea, what makes you uniquely different. And then the last area is the gold bit, what I've got there. What do you like to do? Because I don't want anyone to get any contracts which you don't like. It's not aligned to you. So for me, I like to travel. So I definitely want to get some contracts where, you know, post-COVID, we can travel. I like to have deep relationships. So I don't like to just go in and go out. And this is when I was doing a lot of HR, and Irene might be able to relate to this, that sometimes I would just have to go in and make someone redundant, and then I'm onto another organization. Then I have nothing to do with that organization. But I prefer to create deep relationships with organizations so that my fingers on the pulse. If they need something else that probably I can't do, I can recommend somebody else. I like reading and learning. So I make sure that the resources I offer, I always offer books. So I either buy the books and I give it to them, and they think they're getting it free of charge, but I've already charged them in my training package. So there's different ways you can do this, right? And their minds are blown. When I do leadership group of 5, and I say, well, everybody gets the book, they're like, oh my God, you know, the 5 dysfunctions of a team. They're all really happy. It cost me £10 per book, but I've already included it in the training price that I charged the company. So
Lovely.
Always think about creative ways that you can do to deepen the contract, deepen the relationship. Yeah. So, and then based on that, so this is not my message, but based on those circles, I like to deliver people development solutions where I can provide clarity, I can build in simple solutions to increase the visibility for the organization and provide life-changing experiences. So the companies will get me in to like deliver some sort of training, inclusion training, like I did inclusion training for Lloyd's Banking Group yesterday. The group that I had, I tell you, their life has been changed because they sat there and they thought, oh my God, Michelle, I had no idea that this was microaggression. I had no idea that when you say to a Black person, oh, I don't see color, that can be offensive. So I have given them clarity. I've given them a different experience. I've taken their blinkers off. So they go now back to the director, the CEO, or whoever hired us to come in and say, oh my gosh, it was really great. It was I understand now about microaggressions. I understand now about inclusion. I understand, and I gave them data. That's what you want to do. So then I get called back time and time again. I'm back again next week. So this is where you want to make sure you've got your expertise, what they'll invest in, but also what you like to do. Also,
I'll ask a question, Michelle.
Go for it.
Just on that point, I really love what you're saying. How many people were in the room when you were delivering the training?
144 people.
There you go, because that speaks to scale.
Yes.
You weren't doing it to one individual, you're doing it to a scale of people and a multiple. And that's the difference between business to customer and business to corporate, business to business.
Mhm.
They were engaging you for scale that you're going to deliver for.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, and this is how I want you guys to think. And obviously I'm gonna show you how to do it. Any questions you have, or how do I get in, who do I talk to? Those are the easiest bits. It's actually, once you get in, is doing a good job. Yeah, it's doing, and I can't help you with that bit, guys, because I'm assuming you all are very good at what you do. All right. So let's quickly, and this is the last segment, your message. Now, this is my message, and I put this on the screen so you can see. Now, this message is helping organizations. So this message is for my organizations. I have a separate one for entrepreneurs. And my other one for entrepreneurs is that I help them raise their visibility so that they can make a bigger impact in the world and make more income. This is not the same message I use for my organizations. So this is helping organizations remain competitive, because organizations just get me in either to save them money or to keep them on the right side of the law. Yeah. To remain competitive and exceed targets by transforming the skills of their people. So I help make their people better so that they can be more competitive in the market. And I do this through executive coaching or inclusive leadership training. So who here may need to adapt their message so it meets the corporate market? Because you all have a message now. So Linda, what is your current message now?
To care for yourself as much as you care for others.
Right. Okay. So now we need to work on how you can adapt that for organizations. So you can keep the same theme, but either throw in the word organization or make it a bit more compelling. And remember, organizations, they're one track minded. They want to make money. They want to make money. They want to save money. So anything that you can do, put in there, how to care for staff. So something like, how
strengthening your organization, A, B, and C, by caring for your staff, or retaining more people from your staff, those types of things. If you put it on the focal point on the organization as opposed to the individual, it can help.
Yes, definitely. So, Simone, haven't heard from you, my darling. Are you still there? Let me stop sharing so I can see.
I'm here. Hi, Michelle. Hi,
everyone. Welcome. So, Simone, quickly tell us what you do.
My punchline. Yeah.
What's your message? What's your current message now?
So my current message is I help transform the lives of managers, everyday managers, into strong, confident leaders.
Love it.
Through mentoring.
Love it. I don't
Brilliant.
Change anything there. That's good.
Can I ask as well, what is the benefit to the company for that?
Well, in terms of what I believe in, a one-day course on leadership doesn't really work, because by the time the person finishes the course, goes back to work, they don't have time to implement the skills that they've learned. However, with my program, we break everything down. There's an accountability partner, and the course is for 16 weeks. So I help them through that behavior change. So yeah, that's what I deliver.
Behavior change.
Absolutely.
So behavior change and competence. They use the word competent, key KPIs and all of that palaver. So those are the words you want to be using. I like that. I like that.
And think about the output as well. What you described there was your mechanism of how you get the output, but the output for the organization is going to be what would you say is a benefit for the individual or the organization?
So confidence in management, engaged manager.
Exactly.
They will be able to, deliver in their jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. all the benefits.
So those are, so sell the benefit as opposed to just the mechanism. Mechanism is important, but the benefit is what they're looking for, because they want to align the benefit to their requirement.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So I want to hear from Rona, Kareen, Hanan, and Denise. So let's hear your current messages. Who wants to go first out of you four? Go on, Hanan, you're smiling at me. And then Rona. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, Michelle, I'm always smiling. Oh gosh, I hadn't even thought of this. I guess my message is I help businesses, individuals take off the stress of organizing and planning an event. I also negotiate venues on their behalf, so I save the time for them ringing venue after venue after venue. So I'm also able to look at their budget, what they're trying to I always kind of start off with their budget, because that would also help me know what type of hotel or conference venue that they're looking, at spending on this whole event itself. So, kind of look at the budget plan as well. So yeah, I think sometimes with my message as well, I sort of go a little bit more deep into it, where I might say, I'll give you a budget planner if you haven't done one, sort of kind of go a bit more the extra mile in order to.
I'm going to stop you there. They don't want to know about the budget planner, not at the beginning. You want to, so let's look at it. Let's talk about now, and then you can also offer your expertise when everyone goes back out into the real world.
Yep.
You want to be the person that they go to who can put on beautiful experiences. So it's not just an event.
Yeah.
So you want to remember, getting you in as an events organizer is a nice to have right now. Do they have nice to have money right now? Probably not. So you want to say that you want to look at organizations that organize events all the time, and there's loads. I can give you lists in the property industry. They either do summer parties, they do galas, they do dinners. Now, some of them are going to be hybrid. So they'll do some in person and some online. It's going to take a bit of a while for it all to be in person. So you want to say to them, I understand that events is critical to your business. They have a budget for events, yeah? So you want to be saying, I want to help create the best experience for everybody being a part of this event. So what your role is to find some of the best softwares, yeah, to make the event. I'm on one tomorrow, and in the one I'm on tomorrow, I've been given a list of things that I need to have, yeah? There's a list of things, and so this is what your role would be in terms of this is the best software to use, and because networking is critical for your business, why don't you use AirMeet? So these are some of the ones. So use AirMeet. I'll give you some ones of some of the events that I've spoken at, and I'll just tell you what apps or softwares they use. Brilliant. But you facilitate all of that. And the events organizers that facilitate all of that, they get paid a lot of money.
That's right.
They get paid a lot of money because the property people or the organizations, they don't have time to learn the software. But if you say you help create great experiences through your event, these are some of the top 5 softwares that you should have. I'm using a software tomorrow called It's called and it allows me to build a whole new experience. I'm going to show you guys it, because if you want to do some of your lunch and learns or your round tables and you want to make it engaging, you need to use this software. I'm going to show it to you. And on it just allows, okay, I can change my backdrop and stuff, but my slides are there. I can be in my slide, I can point to my slide, and I can do all these things, and it can show videos. I can have giffies or jiffies in there. It makes the whole experience different than rather than me just show you the slides like how I'm showing you today.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Comment on it, and this is really bad, right? So I'm at a conference this week. It's a tech conference, right? And I'm speaking on Friday. Today was a keynote, Michelle Obama. And it crashed and burned. Like, if you see the comments, I don't know what happened on the other end, but everyone got, I was in it. I got in for that 3 minutes at the start, and everyone got thrown. And I thought it was me. And I was like, freaking meltdown, because I was like, I wanted to listen to it. And this is people who've paid premium ticket price because they want to hear the main keynote, Michelle, speak for an hour. And it's there's like a ton of sessions throughout the week, right? If you can imagine, because you've got choices every hour.
Yeah.
The one that's not getting recorded. So you have
my word.
live, right? And I sat here between 5 and 6, pulling my hair out, and I started reading like the comments. And that's, Hanan, an example.
Right.
Is the point I'm making.
Absolutely.
Of where you can turn up, and because I delivered on another platform last month, and it was phenomenal, right? It was like a great experience, right? And really solid as a platform. So for you to go in and tell people about, because that, I don't know what the hell's going to happen to them, but everyone asked for a refund, and I was just like, you know, so.
That is such a great example.
Perfect.
And hybrid is going to be around for a long time. So Hanan, because I know you and I've worked with you, I know that you do traditional events. But I guarantee you, if you can get your head around this virtual world and just get your head around some of the software, get your head around some of the software that helps with networking, and you will be inundated with work.
That's right.
I can guarantee you'll be inundated with work because all of these organizations need it. So but it's up to you to get your head around it. The traditional way of doing events will come back eventually, but hybrid is going to be around because there's going to be some people who will pay their money not to meet people, not to be in with other people. So they're still going to need someone like you. So to be able, and even if it's too much for you to learn, either you get someone in your team member to learn some of these software and to be able to manage it, you be inundated, and you can charge whatever you like because not many people are doing it.
100% agree.
As well, you can partner with some of those companies that have got that software. And they will give you all the training and stuff because you're effectively selling their service.
Agreed. And also you can also partner with people that are already delivering event services for these organizations, because it's likely that they won't have the resource either. And so then that means you don't have to do the sell into the organization. They've already done the sell, you're doing the delivery. So you're facilitating. And also, I'll also say from a point of view from a buyer, in the organizations that I've worked with, is we normally have as well a list, a framework, a preferred supplier list of people that we go to for events, just to make, so we make that easy, because that's the issue that you're solving. That's the benefit, not the mechanism. You're solving the issue that they don't have to worry about the event. They just have to turn up and you do everything for them.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
Thank you.
So brilliant. So that's homework for you to do, to start looking at some of these softwares. There's loads out there. Rona. So
Hiya.
Hello,
hi. Mine's quite simple in comparison to everybody else's. I increase people's happiness within organisations, and that helps to improve productivity and therefore increase profits.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
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 This is it. Is there anything else that she could add in there, or I think it's say it again for me, please.
Oh gosh, I hope I can re-say it. I increase the happiness level of staff within organisations, and that helps to improve productivity and increase profits.
You could include words like employee well-being, because that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
People's health. These are the words that they might use to describe it. But
Yeah.
you're increasing the employee well-being. You're benefiting their programs that they would already have.
Yeah.
So by doing that, you also help them slot you into where they think that will be appropriate. If that makes sense, as a business, not an individual, because you want the business to say, okay, maybe we've got a morale issue in this department, or we want to prevent a morale issue in this department. They could be merging, they could be downsizing, they could be, where do you have, they could have just had a raft of redundancies. They could have just, there's all of these things that happen that impact people's happiness. And if you can link yourself to helping them with that solution in their language, they'll be able to see, oh yeah, we do need a happiness coach. They might not have thought about it in that way, but they now can relate it in a business term.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's really good. And remind me, Rona, afterwards, I spoke at this event and there was a lady and she was like similar to a happiness coach. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you now. It just broke for a little
cut out for 30 seconds.
Oh. So remind me, there's a lady that I spoke with at an event. She was a happiness coach and she gets lots of corporate contracts. So I will find her details and I'm going to introduce you and you build that relationship of other people that do similar and just find out where she's spoken or where she's delivered her sessions as well. So
great, thanks.
Yeah,
I'll send you one as well, Rona, as well. I've got a couple of people that do the same. So I'll send you one.
Excellent, thank you.
We're coming down soon, guys. So Denise and then Corinne. Denise, what is your message?
To help organizations empower employees to understand, monitor, and take control of their well-being at work and at home.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. I like that. I want you to reach out and check out, hold up, I've got his name. I did a TEDx talk with him and he did his on movement and mobility. Darryl Edwards. And he's known as the Fitness Explorer. Check him out because he does lots of stuff with organizations around mobility, fit, and he calls it fitness, but he talks more about moving and play and all of those great stuff. Check him out, please.
Okay.
Check out where he's spoken, what work he does, connecting with him. So his name's Darryl Edwards. There's a picture of him on Facebook with TEDx behind him. Brilliant. Karine, are you there? Are you there? I don't know if she's there. Let me check. Are you there? Okay, right, cool. We're gonna move on, and this is I just want to...
I ask a question, Michelle, before you move on, it's Irene. Yeah, so I've heard a lot about the messaging from from an individual perspective. I'm thinking about from like a consultancy, because I'm trying to do this dual hat thing. So there's part of me that's a coach, right? So there's that individual message, but then there's the messaging that needs to happen for me as a consultant or a leader of a consultancy. So for example, I mean, I don't know which strapline it is, but something like we are the experts offering a wide range of core HR services to corporate, private, public. We offer market entry HR strategies, outsourcing. That feels really, based on what you guys are talking about, that feels really impersonal, but that's sitting at a corporate level.
Can I give a couple comments?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a bugbear of mine. I'm not aiming this at you. I mean, you've got the word consultant, you've got the word trainer, you've got the word coach, you've got the word, what else could you have? Controller, any of those. Let's choose any of those, yeah? If I said to you, I am a manager, what does that mean?
You manage lots of different things.
Yeah, so if I was a manager in McDonald's, is that the same as the manager in Apple?
Yes.
Yeah, some people say it's, no, you say it's the same, or is my duties the same? Okay, so if I was a manager of a football ground, is that the same as a manager of a hospital? Right. What the difference is what you're doing.
Right.
And and what I'm trying to explain is this: if you rang into an organization and said I'm a consultant, and they'd say, okay, what type of consultant is it that you do? And then you say you're a HR consultant. Okay, what does that mean? What type of HR consultant? You're niching down to what you do. So the conversation, when I contract for consultants in the organizations I work, and I mean thousands and thousands of consultants, I never look at somebody's magazine that comes in and says, oh, I need that consultant. It never goes that direction. I'm looking to engage a consultant for a specific reason.
Right.
Yeah, and it's always going to be linked to a project or an objective or what have you. So that's what you want to be communicating. So, for example, if I've just engaged, I don't know, a cost consultant or a project manager. That's a classic one that you get. I'm a project manager. What projects do you manage? Managing a project for transition compared to managing a project for construction, compared to managing a transition, they're all different types of managing. And so when you're having this conversation with the organization, you need to be clear as into what you do and where it fits within that. That's what I'm trying to say, because they need to be able to have that, oh, we've got a project that requires a project manager to do A, B, and C. That's how they would make a decision. As opposed
does that mean I interchange, therefore, it sounds like? So if they have a requirement for a coach, then that's what I am. If they have a requirement for a trainer.
Sometimes, yeah. But you've got to link it to what they require, not what you're selling. The buyer determines what the value is.
Right.
Yeah. So
perfect point that you made there. So we will call ourselves whatever, consultant, coach, whatever. They don't really care what the title is.
Exactly right.
They don't really care. They just want to know, can you help me with this outcome? And I tell you why. I go in with one organization, and I first went in to do some HR work. I'm now in doing some coaching. I'm now in doing this training thing.
Exactly right.
I'm stuck with. But I'm still, they only know me as the HR consultant, but now I'm doing coaching. Now I'm doing needs analysis. So it's irrespective that I'm the HR consultant. I'm now just the person who can do the job.
Exactly right.
So your message has to talk about what you do, the outcome, less about the tactics.
Exactly right. They will title you what they want to title you. For example, I'm a procurement director. I've had the title of buyer, procurement director, program manager, program director, consultant. And it's all doing a similar job. Yeah. You know, and they'll title it however they want. But the outcome and what they want delivered for it, that's where it comes in. And what you've also got to consider as well, the last tip is, I would say, what can you evidence that you've actually done? You know, if you're saying I want to move into consultancy, or I'm doing consultancy, what have you consulted on? What type of project? What was the size? Who was the audience? What was the demographic? What were you doing? What was the outputs? That's what they're going to evaluate, or that's what we evaluate you on, as opposed to your title.
Adrian, can I just jump in there as well with being specific in that, like when we were saying about what we're doing. So rather than the well-being, because obviously I work completely the emotional and psychological stability. So is that more succinct rather than just the general?
There's no one rule for everybody, but I think it's both, right? If I'm really honest, Michelle will probably comment on this. You're in the employee well-being space or occupational health space, but they might niche it down to something that you need to explain to them, which is emotional health and what have you. But what you might need to consider is the people that are actually buying or contracting from you will not have your level of expertise, or they won't understand the program that you've titled Gold Program or whatever it is. They understand their needs. And if you can show that that's how you deliver their need, does that make sense?
And I think for Linda, because you said emotional, do you know what came into me? They would use mental.
Absolutely right.
Use mental well-being.
Mental health. Absolutely right.
So
100%.
And actually, you do mental health.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
Definitely. That's so you want to put that in
100%
on your wording, because that is a big thing. There's organizations, you know, I've been asked, they've wanted male counselors, but it's all been mental health. The COVID has hit people mentally, and the fact that they have to go back into work, the fact that some people are vaccinated, some people are not, that's another burden. So it's talking about the mental well-being, the mental capacity of your staff. Yeah. So definitely,
absolutely right.
It would be great. So guys, I want you to, there's a slide. I need you to take a picture of this slide, because this is going to be part of your work, homework. So let me just get it up. because we have come to an end. So, not this. This bit, your missing ingredient or the secret sauce you bring to the table that your competitors don't. So this is what I want you to think corporate. No more entrepreneur thinking here. No more low-level thinking. I'm not saying that entrepreneurs are low-level, but I need you to think about your
different language.
Has to change.
Yeah.
And the perspective has to change. So I want you to think about your proprietary approach, your methodology, your framework that delivers predictable results. So this is what's going to set you apart from other people that might be doing the same thing. Yeah. Think about your approach, your methodology, your framework. Think about what are the trends, what are the emerging trends or the best practices that's shaping that particular market right now. Yeah. So if it's well-being, if it's mobility, if it's STEM, if it's happiness, there's research, there's data out there. You need to talk data, you need to talk numbers. They respond very well to numbers. So you could be going in and say, well, if you don't get, whatever's happening within the organization, according to the trends that's happening now, 60% of your staff will leave by 2022. These are the stats that you need to be talking when you're speaking to them. They work with numbers. So look at what are the trends. I will put together a list and I will drop it in the Google Drive, a list of different places you can get data from. So obviously we've got the Office of National Statistics, but there are consultancies out there like McKinsey & Co. There's a
Gartner.
Exactly.
Gartner, yeah.
That have stats that you can use in your offering, all right? Also, the clearest and best way for a company to get started to work with you. Make it easy. They don't want to fill out any long forms. Yeah, like we do with entrepreneurs, where we say, fill out all of these. They don't have time for that. How quickly can you scale up if your client wants to buy more services and products from you? Because right now it's just you. But what if they say, actually, I love what you're offering, Rona. I love what you're offering, Denise, but we want this on a larger scale. We have companies in Beijing. We've got companies. Think about how you can scale what you do. Yeah. So if they really like what you offer, they might want to roll it out to the other departments. Okay. And these are global companies you're talking to. All right. So just take a picture of that. Hopefully you can see it. These are the things I want you to think about in terms of your offerings. When we're going to start having conversations with them, these are some of the things you can be saying. I know about the trends. I know what's going to happen. I can talk about if you want to roll out this program to your other departments in the EMEA, wherever it is, you can start talking their language, all right? So take a picture of that. So good. And obviously we went over this, what are measurable, quantifiable results. We'll look at that. So this is what I want you to do, to download the workbook and complete your Zone of Genius exercise. So we've already started it, and there's going to be bits in there that we didn't cover in here that's in the workbook. I want you to complete that. And I want you to let me know once you've done it. And if there's anything that comes up for you that you're stuck on, then reach out to me. Reach out to Aidan, and we'll be able to help you. So with that being said, because it's meant to be an hour and a half for today, one takeaway from everyone, please. One takeaway. Either what are you going to do next, or a takeaway from today? One of the two. And I'm going to go room, so have a think about it. And we're going to start with Amelia. One takeaway, or what is the next thing you can start working on? Because I need to write it down.
Can you put it in the chat as well, please, once you've said it? That might help. Yeah.
All right, for me, I'll be thinking about what are secret sources, what makes us unique on the market, position, and our messaging.
Okay, we got part of that. So Amelia, if you can write that in the comments, because we only picked that part. So that.
I'll write that down.
Who's next? Denise.
My takeaway is to change the language. to change what I'm saying or what I'm conveying my message to be from the entrepreneur to the corporate. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Thank you. Rona.
Mine is to just clarify my message. I'm grateful that you both said that it's nearly there, but really I want to really clarify the message so it's just spot on. And also start looking for corporate organisations who may be interested. But I'm going to start on, yes, it'll be corporate, but I'm going to start on sort of like smaller corporate organisations first, because I'm just stepping into the marketplace.
Yeah, I think SMEs will be good for you. SMEs will be good. And next week, we'll be looking at different size organisations and start creating a hit list of, organisations. So SMEs will be perfect for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Leela?
It's nice to work on my message. I've been writing down some ideas and words as we've been going through this. So just to refine that a bit and also think about how I could niche it down, because initially when I left corporate to start all this, it was to work with sales teams in tech, which is niching it down further. And there's a bit of resistance going on there, but I think it would help me to talk about the value more easily that way, and also bring my own success in that role into that. So I just need to think about it.
Yeah, I like that totally. That sounds good. So Janine, and then Hanan.
I think for me, it's how do I tweak the messaging so that I'm focusing more on making it an irresistible offer rather than like a nice to have.
Yes.
And then like the big takeaway as well was like the focus on outcomes rather than the benefits.
Yeah. They don't really care about the tactics and how you do it and stuff like that. They just want to know, if we pay you, you got to do the job.
Exactly right. They don't really care about the it's like a mechanism. When you have somebody come and fix your washing machine, you don't really care which bolt or whatever they turn. You just want to know, is it going to be on when they fixed it?
Yeah.
Similar.
So we've got Hanan, then Linda.
Yeah, I guess my takeaway is just kind of like opening my eyes to really get on top of the whole online events. I do actually already have, funny enough, a list somewhere that is sitting there, because I did obviously look into it months and months ago, but I just didn't action anything. And I think you guys are right as well. So for me, that's an eye-opener that I need to sort of look into that and action it, which I will. And I guess just also getting a bit more clarity on my message as well. So that's also helped me to understand a little bit more. And I think I need to work a bit more on it. But it's just good that a lot of these exercises actually that you guys have mentioned today has really been really great. So thank you.
Good stuff. Linda, then Rushi.
Yeah, I want to, like Minnie, get the large message down, but I also want to try and get down to a strap line as well. So a shorter version of it as well. And look at areas of, be specific in areas that I'm looking at.
Love that.
Thank you.
Good. Rushi, then Irene.
Yeah, for me, it was about focusing on that one area and then refining my message for corporates, because I haven't been into this space, and so this is completely new. And then the thing was that not only just delivering your services and to the corporates, but kind of developing a deeper relationship. So doing things to develop your deeper relationship. That is what will matter in the longer run. Thank you very much.
I like that. Love that. Irene, then Corinne, if you're there. So Irene.
Yep. Nice to have versus critical. Got to think global rather than local. Clarify my messaging and just focus on what my delivery is, not my title.
Yeah, I like that. That's right. And we put some sessions together so we can play about with that and stuff, so you can move forward with that. And I don't know if Corinne is there. If you're there, Corinne, it's your turn. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So guys, I've put the workbook, the link. What have I put in there actually? Yes, I have put the link to the workbook in the chat, and I think everyone's got it. So Linda, if you still can't access it, I will just send it to you. I'll just send it to you. That's not a problem. And what I'm going to do is then I've created a folder, and I think I'm calling it program, and I'll put all the recordings in there so you can access that. I might do it as I might upload it on YouTube and put a private link so you've all got that private link. And next week, I want us to now, so next week we're going to start with your message. Everyone should say it. Everyone should say it. So be prepared. I want to hear it all.
Right.
I want to hear it all. And then I want us to do the corporate clarity. So now, you know, when I showed you that niche methodology, so we're going to start looking at different industries, different sectors. And then I want us to, then I can show you the sales cycle, depending on how big the organization is, how long to get a decision through, and to start creating your hit list. Because effectively, after next week, we've got no session the following week, then it's the next session, I think is yours, Adrian. But between now and then, in the group, I want to know who your top 10 companies to target, because remember, I want everyone to at least book 10 appointments. So we're going to try it. We're going to try it, yeah?
Absolutely.
Let's try it. So we want to get a hold of a person, and it's at least getting the conversation started, yeah? At least just seeing if there's appetite for what you have to offer. So it's just having a conversation with people and around mobility, around executive coaching, well-being, occupational health, happiness, events, whatever it is, STEM. This is what, definitely personal branding. I know there's definitely going to be scope for that. Just having to find out, is there appetite for it? So I want us to at least book 10 appetite talks. Call it what you like. Let's call it what you like, but that's what I want us to do. So guys, thank you so much. Has it been helpful? Has today been helpful? Yeah, definitely, definitely. Good. And if, you know, as always, you've got our details. If you get stuck, just send me a message. If you get stuck, just send me a message. But I need everyone to be moving. Every week, you've got to be moving. So next week, you can't come back and say you still have no message. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly right.
You need to have something that you feel comfortable saying. It rolls off your lips. You don't have to read, oh, my message is, none of that. I want it to reel off your lips, because when you're talking and engaging with people, they, especially if you get a chance to speak to CEOs or even these executive PAs, they're like a CEO in themselves, right? They can smell lack of confidence. They can smell it. So what me and Adrian said that we'll do, we'll do some role plays in one of our sessions. I just want us to do role plays where, you know, everybody else is quiet and we just role play, and we will be the CEO. We're going to put you through your paces, but let's practice here. So when those opportunities come up, you're ready. Okay.
This is a safe space to do that. So well done. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you next week, same time. It won't be as long. I'm so sorry. Today was going to be longer. I'm trying to keep it to an hour, hour and a half, the very most. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
Please remember to put the bits in the chat. We'll leave the chat open a little bit open so we can record it. And look out for some of the messages you might put in the Facebook group as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks a lot, Michelle and Adrian. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
No problem.
Bye-bye. Karen, are you there? You'll have to go. I'm going to have to get you to go.
Michelle, I've sent you some bits on your phone.
Yeah, good. Hold on, 2 seconds, me. Oh, what, 2 seconds? Hello, cat. Right, so